Hello, my name's Tim. Welcome to Tim Burbage Reads. And today I'm going to be talking to you, yes you, about what I read in January. So, first things first was I reread A Hero Born by Jin Yong, the first in the Legend of the Condor Heroes series. This I first read a few years ago and I finished the series right at the start of 2024, and I love this series so much, and I did a little read along of it. So I did this with Rebecca Nicole, and she's still making her way through it, and hopefully we'll have a chat about it because I think she started to get into it. This is definitely the first part of a story. It's set in ancient China, so 1200 AD, the time of Genghis Khan, and it's about our main character, Guo Jing, as he grows up and learns about Kung Fu and learns about his family history. And, oh, this book's so good! Read it. Broken Binding have just put out a really nice edition of the first book. Rereading this, I think of the 4 books, I think 2 and 4 are the best. And 1 or 3 are still very, very, very good. So if you read this and you're like, oh, I quite like it, but I'm not quite sure about it, I read A Bond Undone, the second one, because I think that's outstanding. Anyway, the next thing I read, this is in no particular order, why do I keep saying that, was The Creakers by Tom Fletcher. This, we had a very Tom Fletcher Christmas. So we went to see the show of this. We finished reading the Christmasaurus and the Winter Witch, and then my daughter made my wife read this to her in 3 days. My son read the Yoda story. I read this in 3 days. This took over our house. This is the first book ever, so shiny, that I've read. Yeah, this is the first book that I've read that actually has a soundtrack to it. So what Tom Fletcher has done, so Tom Fletcher's the guy from McFly, for those of you who don't know who he is. And what he's done is there's a QR code and you could scan that and it takes you to a website and then that plays you the song that matches that point in the book. So you see, at the start there's a dedication and then there's the soundtrack. It's like the first thing you see. And the songs are bangers. The songs are absolutely brilliant. We went to see the show at the Royal Festival Hall at the South Bank Centre. I think the book is better than the show because I think one thing that the book does is it explores the weird and magical and wonderful in a way that you just couldn't necessarily do on a show. I think this would be brilliant in animation or in stop motion. As the things discussed, you've got some like really weird stuff going on. That would be really cool to see. Anyway, what's I haven't even said what this is about. So this is The Creakers is the story of monsters under your bed. That's what this is. So this is Lucy Dunkston. Her dad disappeared a few months ago, and then one day, so she's living with her mum, and one day she wakes up and all of the grown-ups are gone in her town. And she discovers you've got these things called creakers. They're on the back. There's these monsters that live under your bed. And they take all the rubbish to a place called the Woleb, which is where they live. And that's where they've taken all the grown-ups. And Lucy has to go rescue the grown-ups and find her dad who's been missing for months and deal with the creakers and find out what they're about. This is brilliant. This is brilliant kids literature because it's a really cool concept, executed well, it's funny, it's interesting, and the big thing for me is that Lucy is a great protagonist because she knows what to do. She gets scared, but she does it anyway, which I think is a really good thing for a young protagonist to feel. Just absolutely brilliant. Then I read Heretic by Craig Martelle and Brad Torgensen. And this was okay. This was a self-pub space adventure romp full of space battles and animal people and things like that. And it was okay. I gave it 3 stars. The thing was that I wanted more of the main plot in this first book, and I wanted more character drama from what was happening to the characters. It felt very surface level. This would be brilliant if you were on, I think it must be on Kindle Unlimited, so you just click the next one and just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. What's interesting is so that was the first in the trilogy, and it felt very much like a first part in terms of, hey, we're going to go do this mission. Oh, but before we do that, we need to go do this. Oh, and before we do the main mission, we need to go do this. And that was the first book. While this is the first in 4, and it is one story all cut up. But here, instead of we need to go do the thing, here's all the stuff that gets in the way. We start with why we need to go do the thing. As in, we start with the generation before the main character, and we learn about their parentage and the tight bond between two families that is key to this series and key to this story. And I just loved it. I just like this one more. The next thing I read was Happy Bunny and Other Mischiefs by Rebecca Granston. I've got a review for that on the channel. This is where the author contacted me and said, do you want to read my book? And I said yes, because I'm going to say yes to every self-pub author who wants me to read their book, because it's really hard to get news out there about your book. It's probably harder to do that than to actually write the book, which is very, very hard. This was a horror short story anthology. I've never read horror before. I thought the skills shown were brilliant. Really good mastery of voice, really good mastery of style, flexing how to write differently for all of the different short stories. I just didn't like a lot of them because they were a bit gross and a bit weird, and some stuff that I didn't enjoy reading about, but that's purely subjective on my part. If you like horror, I think I really recommend it. For me, it was 3 stars, but I think that's because I've never really read horror before, and there was lots of stuff I didn't like because it was just bleh. But if you like horror, I think she was very good. I thought the book was very good. Then I read A Tale of Magic by Chris Colfer. Look at that cover. Gorgeous. This is the first in a trilogy. I got this for my birthday last year. This is about a girl who discovers she is a fairy and she has magic and gets taken away to a school. She lives in a world where magic is banned and magic is outlawed, and she gets taken away to a fairy school and learns about magic, and there's some other stuff going on. I think if this was one of the first books you've read of these, it would be great, because this hits all the tropes that you want. The only thing is, I've read all those tropes before, but also the book's 500 pages long. This book is 200 pages too long. This could be a really nice, short adventure story for younger readers, kind of middle grade, 8 to 12 kind of range. And it's written in that style. There's just too much of it. So maybe it's good for young adult, like 12 to 14, but if anyone is a bit older than that, I think this might not be for them. And then one book that I finished reading to my kids, which was The Wild Robot by Peter Brown. I was trying to find the copy of it in our house and I couldn't find it, so I'm just going to put a picture up here. Hopefully. And this we borrowed from the library because we watched the film, and the film is brilliant, and then it took us a while to get to it, so it was a bit late going back to the library, so my wife just ordered a copy so I could finish reading it to my son. And it was great. It was really good. I liked the story of the robot was great. I liked all the voices. I liked the animals all coming together. There was drama, there was action. I do think the film is a little bit better. The film has more subplots and things like that. The book doesn't necessarily have that. But one thing that's great is the art in the book. I really enjoyed that. And it's so snappy. This book's like 280 pages, but it has 70 chapters in it. It's like bang, 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 bang. Really good. Very easy language to read. I think my son could have read this on his own. But I really enjoyed reading it to him, and he really enjoyed it. So, that was it. I think I've just started Bookshops and Bone Dust, but I've only read like 30, 40 pages of that. And I'm reading Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets to the kids, and I'm reading Miles Morales Ultimate End to my son. So that's it. for what I read and I'm reading in January. Let me know in the comments if you want other stuff that I've been doing in January, TV shows, video games, or if you want updates on how the channel is doing. I know quite a lot of people do that. They're like, oh, subs have gone up this much or gone down this much, or these are the videos I've done and things like that. Let me know if you want that kind of wrap up as well, if you find that kind of thing interesting. Anyway, give it a thumbs up, really appreciate it. And the last thing you need to do is to get out of my house!